From the 1011 Now streaming studio, this is The Night Beat, sponsored by Pella Windows and Doors of Lincoln.
Good evening, I'm Jessica Blum alongside WOWT's Brian Mastery with your headlines for Wednesday, December 10th. We'll check in with our Omaha sister station in a moment, but first, the man accused of kidnapping Jessa Beck in October enters his plea in court. What comes next for Christopher Collins? We start tonight with two updates to two high-profile cases of domestic violence in Lincoln we've been following. The first case, Christopher Collins, the man accused of kidnapping Jessa Beck in September, has entered a not guilty plea in Lancaster County District Court. Court records show that the plea was filed back in mid-November for all 5 charges brought against him, which waived his right to appear today. In October, 1011 sat down with Jessa to hear her side of events. Her story is still available on her website. We'll follow the story to its conclusion, and we'll bring you all the latest when we know more. The other case we've had an eye on is that of 40-year-old Joshua Myers, who also entered a not guilty plea in court today. Myers is facing a first-degree murder charge in connection to the death of 43-year-old Tracy Henman in October. According to Lincoln Police, Henman's family had called 911 after not hearing from her in days. Officers would later find her dead inside her Northeast Lincoln home, Myers also with injuries. Henman's death marked the 6th homicide investigation in the city this year. Keeping with the courts, a hearing for State Senator Daniel McKeon of Amherst has been rescheduled to next week after he and his attorney failed to appear in court this morning. A Lancaster County judge granted a motion for continuance. McKeon was told by the judge that he must appear in person at his next hearing for proceedings to continue. This comes after a criminal complaint was filed Monday, charging him with 1 count of misdemeanor disturbing the peace, following an investigation into groping allegations against him, and a citation for the Nebraska State Patrol for misdemeanor public indecency regarding the allegation. In a statement today from McKeon's attorney, he said, quote, "If Judge Action prefers Senator McKeon to appear in person, it is a waste of our time, but we will be happy to honor the wishes of the court," end quote. McKeon's next court date is set for the morning of December 17th. Now let's turn to our Omaha sister station WOWT for a look at some of their top stories. First Alert 6 anchor Brian Mastery joins us now with the latest tonight. Brian?
Good evening, Jessica. We begin with a fatal crash just before midnight last night in Omaha. A 55-year-old woman was killed when a pickup struck her motorized wheelchair. Investigators say she was on Ames Avenue near 60th Street at the time. Controversy brewing tonight over automated license plate readers in Council Bluffs, Iowa. A new report from the University of Iowa and the ACLU says drivers are tracked with few rules on how the data is collected or used, raising major privacy concerns. Remember, Nebraska also uses automated license plate readers. Sarpy County officials say they're tossing all of their envelopes that have a picture window on the address. Here's why. A viewer alerted us to this problem. The letters she kept receiving from the county had her social security numbers printed next to her address for everyone to see. And finally, the outfield at Charles Schwab Field. Yeah, it's going to look a lot different for the home of the College World Series. In fact, it's going to look a little more balanced. Here's why. Left field finally has a giant scoreboard. Mecca showed it off today. The team also replaced that video board in right field. If you've been to this stadium, you see it here. Upgrades cost $6.5 million. Hard to believe the ballpark opened 14 years ago. Those are the headlines from the First Alert 6 studios. Jessica, back to you.
Thank you so much, Brian. In other news tonight, Lincoln police are sharing the name of the man found Monday near UNL's city campus. They say 39-year-old Luke Perez was found just before 9 a.m. along the Billy Wolf Trail near Vine and Antelope Valley Parkway. His body was found in a culvert. LPD says an autopsy has been scheduled, and at this point, Perez's death is not considered suspicious. 3 people were injured in a crash along O Street this afternoon after Lincoln police say a driver ran a red light. This was the scene at Cotner and O. Our reporter spotted 2 sedans, one along Cotner and the other on the sidewalk with front-end damage. LPD says it seems like the white sedan ran the light, colliding with the red car. 3 people between the 2 vehicles are all believed to have non-serious injuries. A reporter on scene also noticed a crosswalk button knocked off its post. The investigation is still ongoing. On a breezy day in Lincoln, Breezy Airways held its inaugural flight to Orlando this afternoon. Breezy is the first airline to come to Lincoln since the failed Redway experiment. At the celebration today, passengers gathered with Lincoln Chamber and Airport Authority members. And of course, you couldn't have the first flight to Orlando from Lincoln without Mickey Mouse. The famous character was there to celebrate and to take some fun pictures. Breezy was used recently as the Huskers charter flight service. We spoke to a passenger who landed and said it was a great flight.
It's huge for me because we have a 5-year-old and a 10-month-old, and there's nothing worse than getting a connecting flight with kids. So especially worrying about, are the car seats going to make it on, what's going to happen when we get there. So having the direct flight just makes it so much.
The airline will have flights to and from Orlando every Wednesday and Saturday. In the next few months, they will be flying direct to Las Vegas and then on to Orange County, California. And we're getting a look at changes coming to the John Cook Arena in the Bob Devaney Sports Center. The arena will go through a full reseating and parking process, which we reported on in October. Between new and improved seats with cup holders, a centralized student section, and improved courtside seating, the changes will increase the overall capacity to 10,000. Nebraska Athletics says this will only enhance the Huskers' home court advantage. For more changes coming to the Devaney, find this story on our website. Finally tonight, and rounding out your night beat, is a check the 7-day forecast. Yes, you're looking at one more day up around almost 50 degrees on Thursday before temperatures will slide back into the teens and 20s for a cold weekend. And yes, a chance for snow, especially again in the northeast corner of the state by Saturday. That could result in a little accumulating snow, likely less than an inch for Lincoln, but keep it tuned to the 10-11 Severe Weather Center as they continue to post updates and the official amounts once we get closer to that event before rebounding closer to 50 degrees, especially Tuesday and Wednesday of next week.
You've been listening to The Night Beat, sponsored by Pella Windows and Doors of Lincoln. Watch, listen, and stream on the 1011 app on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts.